Hello everyone, hopefully we are broadcasting live off the NFBD page. I have a lovely multi-award winning broker with me, Bianca Patterson today. Hey Bianca.
Hi guys.
How you going?
Good, thank you.
I'm not playing Candy Crush on my phone, I'm just seeing if we can get the live feed through. So if anybody has any questions for Bianca or myself, please feel free to put them in a comment and we'll get to them throughout this broadcast. Here we go. Okay, I can see it live, so it all looks good, and hopefully the voice is okay. It's good when people don't actually ring me whilst we're trying to watch it, but anyway, we'll get there. So, Bianca, thanks for spending some time with me today.
No problem.
I know you're very busy. And RBA announcement today?
Yeah, so I guess good and bad news. So the way I see it, interest rates are at record lows, so that's great for consumers and it's great for all of us with a mortgage. But if we were to see another cut, it would mean that the economy wasn't doing so well. So you've got to look at both sides of the coin. I think we're in a very excellent position where we are. We all need to take advantage of the record low interest rates and really start looking at saving or making those extra repayments, and that's definitely what I tell my clients.
Yeah, I think everybody probably recognised that the rates were going to stay on hold today.
Definitely.
I think I was reading one of the articles, they said 32 of the guys on finder.com just predicted that it was all, no one was moving. So your personal viewpoint, and when we talk about personal viewpoints, we're not giving any advice in regards to where the rates are going, and I'm sure most people know that they're watching, but where do you think they're going to be heading over the next 6 months?
Over the next 6 months, I don't really see that much change. I really prefer not to speculate. I prefer to tell my clients not to worry about it so much. When I'm arranging a loan for them, the realistic expectation is that they're taking that out for 30 years. So, looking at interest rates, what it's going to be this month, next month, it doesn't really matter in the scheme of things. It will go up, it will go down. What we really need to focus on is what you can afford. And can you make extra repayments now? Can you afford that with rates the way they are? And if you can, that's what I recommend.
Yeah, I probably agree with you as well. Yeah. What my 2 cents are worth. I definitely don't think we're going to see any rate movements over the next few months. People are saying we might see something come Melbourne Cup Day. I personally don't see that happening this year. I think we'll probably stay in the stable economy that we are till about February, March next year, is my viewpoint on it. But we'll all wait and see over the next 4 weeks again.
Yeah.
Getting into the property market.
Yes.
So I wanted to leave first home buyers and owner-occupiers aside for the moment today and talk about and build on your background around property investing.
Yeah, for sure.
And what that looks like. And is now a good time to be looking into that?
Well, again, there's no really good or bad time. The way I look at the property market is, are you ready? So do you have all your ducks in a line? Do you have your deposit? Do you have your equity there? So I don't think interest rates should ever be the reason you make the decision to invest in property. Yes, it's great right now, repayments are low, but you shouldn't be considering what the repayments will be now. And, myself and all the good brokers out there will be telling that to clients. So saying, record lows, great, put that money in offset, pay down your home loan, but, interest rates will rise. We can't tell you that it's going to be this year, it probably won't be, but in the next few years, we're going to see the rates rise. So if you're really banking on the rates, being this way when you're buying investment property, I'm not 100% sure that, that's the right decision for you. You might want to speak to someone about, the cycle and what will happen. So property in Perth at the moment, I think it's a great opportunity to buy. People are quite conservative and they are quite scared and they're not sure where it's going. I guess I've worked in property for long enough, so almost 9 years now, that I know, and we all know that it is a cycle. So, you buy when the time is right for you, when you are in a position where you can afford to make the repayments, but you can also deal with, the vacancy rates, with, dropping rents and also maintenance costs. I always recommend my clients speak to a property investment advisor. So speak to someone.
Attention all fire wardens. A quick debriefing will be conducted in 5 minutes in the ground floor on the south side of the lobby. Any fire wardens that wish to come down to level 3, level 3, podium level for a quick debriefing. Please head down now. Thank you.
All right, for everybody, I know I do bloopers at the most, in most of my videos at the end, but this one wasn't planned. We're actually in one of the offices in Perth CBD, and there was the annual fire drill evacuation that they did about 20 minutes ago, so they're still wrapping that up. It is all safe, so we're not breaching any of the drill sergeants, but that's all it was. So I apologise if that comes over again. But Bianca, back to you.
Yeah, so, you know, I work in property, and the last time I purchased an investment property, it was actually a daunting experience. So someone that knows so much about the Perth market, investment property and investing, and something that I guide clients with every day, can be scary. It can be a decision that, you know, you can't necessarily make yourself. So if you're unsure, get really good quality advice. That's the biggest thing that I can say to my clients, and, you know, they have been so grateful for it in the past.
Yeah. Should people, there's hotspots obviously around Sydney and Melbourne that we all know about.
Definitely.
I think it's starting to creep up the East Coast as well. Your personal hot tips if people are looking to get into the investment market maybe for the first time, where they might be looking, and who should they seek for some further advice around what property areas that they should be interested or getting interested in?
Yeah, it's really hard to give that, I guess, specific advice when you don't know their circumstances. You know, there are clients out there that may only ever buy one investment property, so they might want something that's, you know, quite well maintained, lock and leave, you know, good rental return. But there are other property investors who are looking for the first time who want maximum growth quite quickly. So they're, you know, in WA itself, the areas that I would recommend would be so different for those sorts of investors. There are the investors that, you know, have 3 or 4 properties under their belt and might be looking for development. So really, you know, I am a finance specialist. I know what I do. I love what I do. That's what I live and breathe. I try not to make recommendations on property for my clients. I point them in the right direction of a property investment advisor. Yeah. So where would they find one of those?
Yeah,
Look,
absolutely.
there are plenty around Perth. If people want to make contact, I can send you the details. But definitely there are property investment advisors Australia-wide. So, you know, if it is your first property, you might want to stay closer to home, somewhere in WA, a market that you know and understand. But if it's, you know, your 3rd, 4th, 5th property, you might want to look to diversify. So that's all about getting that right advice.
Yeah, excellent. On the property investment space, when somebody's looking at external costs,
yes,
rather than just the purchase price,
yeah,
what should they be looking for?
I guess a good quality advisor does charge a fee for service. In the property space, if they're not charging a fee, you have to ask where their commission is coming from. You know, I certainly don't work for free. I generally don't charge a fee for service as a broker, but I'm paid by the lender, and that's fully disclosed up front. So if you are working with a property investment advisor, just make sure that you know how they're getting paid, because, you know, they're not doing it for love. And if they are being paid by a developer or another party, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to know where that money's coming from, because ultimately that's you know, the funds are coming from somewhere.
Excellent. The other costings in regards to people structuring an investment property, whether
yes,
they're looking at negatively geared or positively geared property, or even neutrally geared to
yeah,
some aspect.
Yes.
Who should they seek that guidance from in percentage of ownership as well, if they're purchasing it in a couple? Where should they look?
Definitely their accountant. And if you don't have a good accountant, give your broker a call, because they will know a really good one. Working in property for so long that you need a team of experts. So no one person can do everything. I can tell you, I probably know the answer to the tax questions, but I would never tell a client. That's not my role. And again, just like property, I don't overstep the bounds. So, you know, speak to an accountant. Speak to an accountant that knows and loves property. Generally, the best question I have for an accountant is, do you own investment properties yourself? If they don't, and there's a valid reason for it, that's okay. But if they're not really interested in property, are they really going to be interested in getting the maximum amount of returns for yours?
Yeah, excellent. And we're just checking our feed. Yeah, yes, Nicole, it was very funny. The point around finance brokers,
yes,
and everyone knows that I'm a huge advocate of our industry and
definitely,
what these finance brokers do. You did hit the nail on the head on one of them, that finance brokers have access to other specialists that they can refer clients to, so they're making sure that they're getting the right advice,
yeah,
in the right time to point them on the right direction.
yeah.
Your viewpoint on why consumers should be utilising finance brokers more than what we're currently seeing?
Yeah, so really it is around the advice space. So I live and breathe this. This is what we do every day. I can give good quality advice, and if I'm not able or allowed to give the advice, I can refer someone on, to someone else that can. So being able to recognise when a client is in a situation that isn't quite right or has a problem that they don't even know they have, that's where the quality of using a broker. We could sit here for 3 hours and talk about all the other reasons, you'd want to use a broker, the choice of lenders and, the availability of us sitting at our desks every day, having a PA there following up the file. There's so many reasons that a client should use a broker, but advice is my number one reason that my clients come to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably invaluable.
Yeah.
In the space.
Without question. So, my clients have come to realise that, they don't really make a financial decision without me. I've spent the time, getting to know them, to doing my research, to really just nutting down what their strategy is and finding out what their goals are. So for them to make any type of financial decision without them, they just don't trust themselves. So really my clients are so interested in my advice, they don't even ask what the rate is. Of course I disclose it, it's all in the paperwork, we talk about it, but they don't care. When I bring my recommendations to them, they're already ready to sign. It's not about the bank, the lender, the price for them, it's about what I'm recommending, which helps them achieve their goals.
Yeah, and we always say that finance brokers don't sell products, they'll make dreams come true. So that's perfect.
True. Yeah, practice that.
Can I talk about rates though?
Yeah, sure.
Right? And it goes to a story that I want to share. That I was speaking to somebody over the weekend, and we were talking about what I do and in the finance industry, mortgages, loans, business loans, whatever it may be. This person had a loan, and I out of curiosity, I asked them how they actually sourced that loan out, and they said, I've been banking with a certain bank, and I won't name it, over the last 10, 20 years. So, I just went to go visit them and they did the loan for me. So I did ask them, I said, do you know what finance brokers do? And they gave me a rough indication, yes, they can come and see me when I need to and structure a deal for me. Yep. Do you realise they might be able to get the most competitive package for you and potentially look at maybe saving you some further dollars as well, purely just on rate? I knew that, but I just didn't have the time. So we actually went to visit this gentleman because he was over the football finals over the weekend, bought a new television, so one of these huge, I think it was LED or plasma, I don't know what it was. So I asked him, I said, how much time did you spend researching about to get your TV? And he goes, I don't know, I probably spent like a week every night on the iPad researching different stores, what it can do, does it have the free view, etc., etc. I said, okay. I said, how many times did you actually go into a different store to go look for it? And he goes, I probably went into about 4 or 5 different stores to get the best price. And I said, how much did you save in the end? He goes, about $300. And this is over about a $3,000 TV. So the point I was making to him is that you've probably spent 5, 6, 7 hours saving $300 on a TV, but potentially you could spend maybe 2, 3 hours in over a 3 or 4 week period with a finance broker who potentially could save you thousands, let alone $300. So it was quite an interesting viewpoint, and it probably goes to the heart of why National Finance Broker Day exists.
Yeah, for sure.
And the heart of it.
Look, we've seen that a lot in property. It's so scary to hear the stories of clients that have come in, to your business, and you ask them, why did you choose this property? Where did it come from? And, they went to an information evening, or, someone dropped a flyer, or, the accountant said they should buy it, whatever it might be. And it does scare me that they haven't really put that extra time to research into it. So, yeah, I see it a lot, and it can sometimes be a massively costly mistake. So, yeah, I agree completely. The way I look at it with a broker versus, bank direct, I like to feel that I actually take less time with a client than the bank would anyway. And my clients really understand that. Once I've met them the first time, if they are too busy, we do everything over phone and email. I might not see them again until I'm signing loan documents, and then they might not need to see me again at all. It just really depends on what they want and what they're looking for. But the majority of my clients are time-poor professionals. They don't want to sit down, they don't want to think about it. They say, this is what I'm looking for. I look at their goals and objectives. I give them, what they need. A simplified, I don't give them a choice. I say, this is what it is. This is the best product for you. They sign, the deal's done. In a couple of weeks settled, I set up their accounts, it's done. So I find that I can make the experience better than them dealing with the bank direct, and that's why I receive so many referrals.
Is there still a perception that it's too complicated to go see a finance broker, whether I'm looking at investment property that we've been talking about, or whether I have a loan at the moment and I'm looking for a more competitive rate, and that refinancing, it's too hard, I don't want to get the paperwork, it's in my broker. Is it that complicated?
It isn't that complicated. Look, there are more and more requirements by the lenders to provide income documentation, but really they should be the same at the bank or whether you use a broker. So I guess some brokers do go above and beyond. I do ask for additional documents that the bank doesn't necessarily ask for. I do that because I want to do my own due diligence. Sometimes people have a tick and flick checklist where they go, okay, it fits the box, it's fine. But when you're a broker that's looking, for the holistic situation for that client's long-term goals, sometimes there's more questions that you need to ask. So although I try and make it as easy as possible, really sometimes the broker or the person that's asking for more documentation might actually be the one that's, working more so for what, your long-term goals.
And that probably gives you a better sense of where the client, what their goals they want to achieve. They might not be that immediate one, might be the one down track.
And that's definitely so. So, when I put together a strategy and I'm looking at a client structure, that's everything that I'm looking for. I don't really care too much about this transaction. This is a step to get us here. So what I want to put into place for my clients is a map. So how do we get here in a straight line rather than having to go here, there and fix mistakes as we go. So structures that I put in place now, sometimes I have the conversation with the client, you're taking a slightly higher interest rate at this lender. I could have taken you here, but this lender will hold you back from accessing equity for the next property next time. So my clients understand that, we're trying to get here. What happens in between doesn't matter as long as we get here on time.
Yeah, excellent. I don't think I could have said it better myself. That was beautifully said, Bianca. Perfect. You probably touched on about why using a finance broker.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts for our viewers today?
Look, just at the moment, I guess all brokers will know that interest rates have been at record lows. Now is a great opportunity to be reviewing your loans, and you may, consumers may get a call from their broker any week now as we go through and try and improve the product offerings. If you haven't looked at your loan in the last 2 to 3 years, that's really something that you might want to start considering. So there's new products available, the option of having more offsets against the one loan. There's so many new things there for consumers. I think that everybody is just really doing a shake-up of the industry and having a look at what we can best offer consumers.
Excellent. Actually, there is something else I wrote on my card. Hence why I write these down, because my mind goes all over the place when we do these live broadcasts. Online lenders.
Oh, yes.
They're getting more publicity now, whether they're utilising or assisting clients with scenarios and selling deals online with a support team, assisting clients getting a more competitive rate. And there are other avenues where clients are getting leads sent to brokers and brokers are assisting these clients. Your view on these online lenders?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a loaded question. Everybody that knows me knows I'm such an IT nerd, so I absolutely love the idea that these platforms are available. I love the technology that allows, a machine to pretty much take away a lot of the process. That being said, I don't think that replaces the role of a broker. So I would love, aggregators and lenders to take this as an example and improve their systems and, and make it easier for brokers. But ultimately, my clients come to me for my advice. And, there are complex scenarios that if you put it into an online lender's platform, it would probably break. So, when a client has 4 or 5 entities, there's trust, there's other borrowings, you try and put that into a PAYG calculator asking, what's your income for 2015, 2016, it's not going to work. So I guess for a very small segment of the market, these platforms will be amazing. All they care about is rate. They will move banks every 6 months for rate if that's what it takes. They are happy to invest the time to save that little bit of money. To be completely honest, that's not the client I'm chasing. It's not the client I want to work with. My clients are my clients for life. I want to be there when their children are born. I want to see them, graduate university. So someone that's so interested in rate that they're willing to do the whole process themselves to save, 0.25, not really my client base and not really someone I think would benefit from my service.
Yeah, excellent. Good views on that one. I'm going to let Bianca take all the view on that one. Unless you have any questions for me on that.
No, I don't. Well, what are your thoughts?
It is an interesting viewpoint, and there's been a lot of people I've been speaking to that are associated with these online lenders, and there's probably 3 different aspects that I've heard of that clients are going in there. The search engine optimization on these sites are picking up keywords, whether they're more competitive rates, best deals, bank's not doing the best for me. These sites are coming up on the first 1 or 2 headings under Google.
Yeah.
And they're going into these sites, and clients are, whether it was I want a better rate with my current lender, putting in the details, and those details are actually going to that client's existing lender for their retention team to actually contact them and negotiate a better rate, so the lenders don't actually want to lose that business. The other one is I'm looking for a loan or looking at purchasing a property. They go into the system and they potentially could go off to a broker as well who's registered on that platform. And the third one is, as you mentioned, around I've got a deal, I want to do it myself, and there's a support team that can assist them in doing it. So my different avenues on it, great that we're looking after clients from an existing bank's perspective.
I agree completely.
They're staying there, because if they're not needing to refinance and go through that process, even though it's not as complicated as you mentioned prior, but if they can save money without doing that, by all means, that's the way that we should be doing it, and that's probably the way that finance brokers look at existing deals before they start looking at different alternatives.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, and brokers love to hear that banks are really interested in retention. You know, we've all seen it. You know, there are times where they want to hold their book, and there's sometimes there isn't. So to a broker, when I'm able to call up or, you know, just put through a pricing and be able to retain the client there, that's my ideal goal. You know, I don't want to be moving a client's loan around. I want to make the process as easy as possible so they remember that. That's the experience that I want them to do. Not every 2 years me have to go, well, actually I can get you a better rate, but, you know, your existing lender won't match that. So if there was an online platform to clients to use themselves, that's great. But, you know, we're quite lucky that we have access to that with most of the lenders at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll probably wrap up. So thank you very much for joining me and joining us. But before we do go, stay tuned. I did mention that we will, probably about the beginning of last week, I mentioned that NFBD has an exciting announcement that we were planning to announce this week. It looks like it's more than likely going to be next week, but stay tuned. That's actually going to be really exciting, and it's going to be a whole finance broker industry organised event and structure. But that's probably all I can say at this point in time. But stay tuned with us. We might announce that via a live broadcast with the appropriate person to tell us more about it when I get all the green lights, which hopefully should be in the next few days. So stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for joining us. All right, see you guys.